Hello, I am Yanink Caro from Mexico City. I work at Instituto Nacional de Ciencias Médicas en Nutrición Salvador Subirán, which is part of Casanet region. I'm going to present you the clinical facts of durably low CD4 counts while virologically suppressed MON-ART initiating persons with HIV in Latin America. We know that people with HIV and insufficient immune responses after ART have higher risk of comorbidities and death, as have shown different studies. In Casanet, 56% of people is late presenter, defined as CD4 counts lower than 200 to AIDS defining event. Almost 50% of them are late initiators, and between 20 and 39% of deaths during the first year of care could have been avoided if ART initiation were timely. Our objective was to estimate the effect of cumulative time with CD4 count lower than 200 on mortality and AIDS and non-AIDS related comorbidities among ART initiators with viral suppression in Casanet from 2000 to 2017. We included Casanet people older than 18 initiating ART with documented viral suppression defined as a viral load under 200. We started follow-up in the first viral load under 200 and ended when the viral load was above 200. In case that the last viral load was under 200, we have two options to see if a last alive was reported in the next year, and this is the last alive date, the end of follow-up, and if this is not the case, the end of follow-up ended at last viral load date. We choose death and severe comorbidities as outcomes. We are including AIDS and non-AIDS defining events as cancers, cardiovascular, renal, and liver diseases, and the exposures were the percentage time with CD4 count lower than 200, cumulative proportion of follow-up time with CD4 count lower than 200, and time updated CD4 count. We need to fit the dataset in this way, dividing the total follow-up time by periods defined by the CD4 count report. And we are counting by the time with CD4 count lower than 200 as in this way. We also report the severe comorbidities or deaths occurred in these periods. We fit Cox models for death, severe comorbidities, and both outcomes using the percentage time as CD4 count with lower than 200 and time updated CD4 count as time varying exposure coverages. We use the AIC to compare goodness of fit between models. In the results, we included 9,123 patients, and we see that at the end of the study period, 68% of patients spent no time with CD4 count lower than 200, and 20% of them spent at least 15% of the time with CD4 count lower than 200. This percentage time was decreasing over time, especially between those starting with a CD4 count lower than 200. In the models, we can see that a higher hazard ratios was found for higher percentage of time with CD4 count lower than 200 for all the outcomes. Also, when we include the time updated CD4 count, we can see a few best fit of the AIC. As a discussion, we have a percentage of time under viral suppression with CD4 count lower than 200 was associated with death and severe comorbidities. The estimates were similar when also adjusting for time updated CD4 count, and this model had the best fit statistics. Vigilant screening for comorbidities is needed in these populations, and also we found that cumulative time with low CD4 counts under viral suppression was also associated with non-AIDS related comorbidities, a finding not well documented in previous studies, but we have not yet conducted analysis for specific non-AIDS conditions such as liver or renal disease. I'd like to thank to Vanderbilt team and all the investigators in the sites from Casanet cohort. Thank you.